Good morning, and welcome to the Monday Morning Motivator meeting. I'm Jess Magoch, your host, and today I'm sharing with you some tips for really getting your sales playbook to work for you. So if you have a sales playbook and you're wondering why I spent so much time creating this, nobody's using it. Or if you're thinking about if you really need to spend the time investing in creating a sales playbook for yourself, then this episode might help today. So for those of you who are unclear of exactly what a sales playbook is, a sales playbook is a step-by-step training manual basically for your sales team to get them launched quickly and to tell them everything they need to know, soup to nuts, to be able to make a sale in your company. At least that's what it is, in my opinion. So it's a playbook. It's a play-by-play. It takes them step by step through how to complete a sale. You can use it primarily as an awesome training tool. When new people get started, you can slide that sales playbook across the table and tell them to, read this first, get through all this material before you launch into your other kinds of classroom training or field training. And it's also an ongoing reference manual. So the way I create my sales playbooks and the way I used it for my team when as I've stated so many times before, I feel like when we really started growing fast, if we didn't have a sales playbook that everyone was working on the same page and getting the same, everyone was getting the same comprehensive training and information to fuel and get them all the resources and information they needed, that we wouldn't be as successful as we were. So we went from zero to over $100 million in business in less than 3 years. And so that would not have been possible without the sales playbook. And mind you, there was no the term sales playbook wasn't commonly used then. So for me, it was just a training manual. I was like, I got to put this all down somewhere because I just can't keep repeating myself over and over, right? But I want to share with you today the 3 biggest mistakes that I see in sales playbooks so that you can avoid them, okay? Whether you have one already or if you're about to create one, you'll want to hear this because I see a common. So since I help startups design their sales playbooks and winning sales strategies, I get to see a lot of people's existing sales playbooks. And for anyone in the sales launch code already who are taking the course to take them step by step through building their own sales playbook, when I get them to review, I often see these mistakes as well. So perhaps it's because the importance of them isn't so defined, or it's not as important to them as it is to me, and how much I know it is to their new salespeople. So I want to take you through the 3 biggest mistakes to avoid when developing your sales playbook so that you can launch your sales team quickly as well. Sound good? Okay. And if you don't already, grab my sales playbook template. That'll help you take all of what your winning sales strategy and put it into paper, and also guide you step by step through creating winning sales strategy. I'll drop a link for that below. Okay. So number 1 biggest mistake I see is that the sales playbook is not comprehensive enough. So a lot of times when I get sales playbooks, they look more like slide decks where they're taking a new agent or a new salesperson through training through a series of slides, and it's pretty short and it gives them an overview of how to make a sale in the company. What it's not is fully comprehensive, right? So our completed sales playbooks that we do for clients are typically between 60 and 80 pages long. And that right there might make you run away and go, okay, I guess I'm not creating a sales playbook because that's a lot of work. But the idea of a fully comprehensive sales playbook is that it's that one place where everyone knows that all the information is there all the time. Even if you're linking out to other playbooks, the sales playbook is the thing that keeps it all together. It's the glue that pulls all the pieces together for your salespeople. So when I'm training 30 new salespeople at a time, and I can't have everyone knocking on my door with the same questions, what I can do is say, It's on page 16 of the Sales Playbook. Please go check that out and then ask me if you have any questions, right? And usually that's enough to answer the question. Interestingly enough, my one way that this could help you once you create a comprehensive sales playbook and then you have people that are training with it and then they're not using it. My sons both went through kindergarten recently, and I thought it was really interesting that the teacher gave them problem solving strategies. Like the whole purpose of kindergarten is, besides socializing is problem solving. So they had 10 different strategies that they had to try before they went to the teacher for help. And I thought that was really interesting to take back if you're, training people at all, is that they need to know what they can do before they come to you to ask a question. Because just like teaching anything, if you teach them how to find the answer versus just giving them the answer all the time, they'll just take the easy route and keep knocking on your door every time they have a question. But if you have a sales playbook where they know everything's in there and they know that they can search through that first before they ask you a question, it's really helpful. But that's why it needs to be comprehensive, because if all the answers aren't in there, then they don't know if it's in the sales playbook or not, right? That might not have been something you covered in there. So it's a lot of things I see missing as far as being fully comprehensive is really getting the salesperson from the point of novice to expert in a very short period of time. Because in order to sit in front of your clients and help them solve their problem, they have to be an expert on your solution. So even before you get into how to sell our product, they need to have a fully comprehensive understanding of what the problem is, who our ideal customer is, not just our target market, but what's going on inside our ideal customer's head. What are their struggles? What does their life look like outside of work, right? We do our ideal customer avatar exercises and we share that with our new salespeople so they don't have to do the exercise themselves. But we give them all that background information of who our ideal client is. And then where they hang out, what really is the problem? Like, what is the deepest, darkest, like what's the worst case scenario if they don't solve this problem? And then what's the whole universe of solutions besides just your solution or your category of solutions, right? So for instance, like a CRM, if you're selling a CRM program, yes, your competition is other CRMs, right? And there's more popping up every day. But the universe of solutions, at least especially when CRMs first came out, was, keeping track of things on paper, keeping track of things on spreadsheets, right? So that's the universe of solutions. So have your salesperson understand what are all the ways they can solve the problem, and then what is the category of problems in which we solve it, and then why are we the best solution within that category, okay? They need to be experts on all the competition, which means you need to provide them links and resources to your competition, price points for your competition, as well as really quick highlights of how they're better than us and how we're better than them. Highlight what their strengths are and their weaknesses are, not so that they can, divulge that to the client right away, but they need to know where they sit. Because sometimes you'll sit in front of clients and they'll be better suited for a competitor. You need to know that. You always need to do the best thing for your clients. It's quite embarrassing if you have a salesperson go into the market and the client asks about their opinion about a competitor and they've never heard of the competitor. Okay, you need to be one step ahead of your clients and understanding how they're shopping for your product, for your solution. So you need to know all the competition. You need to know the problem better than they do. You need to know the solution better than they do. And you need to know competitors better than they do. What they know better is their company and specifically how this problem affects their company. They'll always be the expert on that. You need to be the expert on the problem, the solution, and the competition. And so do all your salespeople. So as soon as they come on board, they need to get all of that delivered to them. And I'm not talking about a matter of months. I'm talking about a week or so, right? You just need to know as much as your competitor, as your client does. You need to know a little bit more than your client to be able to help them. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know a little bit more, okay? So the best way I can describe that, or a best tip I can give around that, is go on your client's buying journey. What does your client do? Sit in your client's chair, go on their journey. They have a problem. What do they do first? They probably jump on Google and look for an answer, right? Maybe it's something else. But what does your client do first when they're looking for a solution? Go through their journey of buying your solution with other competitors. They're not going to find you right away. But what do they see? What competitors are out there? What solutions are out there? What are they being told about this in the market? And take that journey with them so that you know what they've gone through before they get in touch with you. Okay, the second biggest mistake is that it does not include word-for-word scripts on how to do discovery calls and how to do presentations. And so, and often even if you share a presentation with someone, they don't have the step-by-step word for word to read. So one tip is that if you already have a great, presentation that's closing consistently 60, 70, 80% of the time, that's awesome. Record yourself doing it and then upload it to YouTube or Facebook. You can keep it private if you want. It'll still work if you keep it private, or you can keep it unlisted if you just want to share it with certain people. And then I'll do for YouTube first. If you upload it to YouTube as private or unlisted, after it's uploaded, it'll automatically generate transcription for you. And then after it takes about as long as the video itself to do the transcription. So then you go back and you look right under the video. There's 3 dots right next to the share button. And if it's your video, you'll be able to see that, and you can open up the transcriptions. And then you could just copy and paste the transcriptions right into a document. And then you'll have to, edit them. But that gives a word for word script for the salesperson. And then of course, that takes me to the third mistake is no videos, no links to videos or example presentations. So you need to have a consistent plan and consistent strategy for people to follow that they can follow from day one and not have to figure out from scratch like you did. And so creating, if you're doing a paper playbook, then links to videos. If you're doing a video, we do video-based sales playbooks, so we'll embed the videos. And here's a tip to make sure that it's always up to date and consistent, is to create a static link or a static embed code. So I can make up one that would be my domain, but create a subdomain. So I could do, salesdemo.jpmpartners.com. I don't have that set up, so it won't take you anywhere if I did that. But if you did it for your company, it would be like, you could do that as an example, salesdemo.jpmpartners.com. You pop that link into the Sales Playbook. And then every time you have a updated version of your video, let's say on YouTube or someplace else, you just update that subdomain where that subdomain's forwarding to, instead of having to make sure that everything's updated all over the place. And that'll update it wherever that link is. So if you sent it in an email, or you sent it in a text message the day before, and then you updated the video the next day, they would see the most recent video. And you only have to, redirect one link. Cool. And then if you're doing a video sales playbook, like we do at JPM, we do all beautiful custom video based sales playbooks, kind of getting with the times. They're all trackable. So you can actually see that your salespeople went through all the videos, and we use, you can use embed links for that. So for instance, a lot of what we use in our video marketing is, we'll use Wistia for that. Vimeo, I believe, does it as well, but Wistia definitely does it. I use Wistia. When you upload a video to Wistia, you get a link, you get an embed code that you can embed anywhere. So we embed them in our video sales playbooks. But if you want to update that video, there's an option to replace the video. And you can replace the video and it'll automatically update of all the places where that video is embedded. And the same link, it would be this too, which is awesome because the worst thing you could have is a sales playbook that's out of date, right? Like no one's going to use it. As soon as someone finds a mistake in it, they're not going to trust it. So number one, it needs to be fully comprehensive so they know that everything they need is in there and they'll go there with confidence and not keep knocking on your door to ask you questions, right? And within that comprehensive, I'd like to add that it needs to continually sell the salesperson on why they should sell for your company. Even if you're paying salary, commission only, it doesn't matter. Your salespeople are being recruited by sales recruiters all the time. So we have to continually remind them why they made a good decision to sell for us, even if we're paying for them. Good salespeople are in high demand. So the sales playbook gives them that confidence that you've done all the work and you know all this and now you're sharing it with them. And that there's strategy behind your playbook, that there's thought put into it, that you did all the customer research and the market research. And then they appreciate more the strategy that you're giving them, and they're more likely to adopt it and trust it and go with it. So 2, not creating word for word scripts. If you saw my rant about why scripts are so important, it's not that you're going to read them like a robot, but the idea of a script is that when you say the same thing over and over again that works, it becomes natural. Okay. So the idea is to practice the script so much that it now becomes natural, because whether you know it or not, if you've been selling for a while and you've had success, you actually have created a script that you're repeating. You've taken little bits and pieces and you remember like certain phrases that make people's eyes light up and others that make them cringe. And then you've created a script unknowingly. So put that script down word for word. And it's actually a great exercise because you'll get to, when you take the time to actually look at what you're saying instead of just improvising in front of customers, you can be more calculated about how you want the flow to go, exactly what you want to say and when you want to say it. And then 3rd is to make sure that you're including videos, because no matter how much you write down and how many scripts, if they don't see it in action, best kind of video is to include a customer in the video, right? A sample demo that you did with the customer so they could hear the customer's objections and questions and the whole, energy and flow of developing a relationship with the client before you give the presentation and all that. And so you really have to be a great example of what you're asking them to do. So those are my 3 biggest mistakes to avoid if your playbook's not comprehensive and doesn't include all these things. It's just not going to work for you. And then you're going to say, why did I waste all my time doing this? My salespeople aren't using it, right? So those are some 3 tips to avoid and make sure that your salespeople actually use this wonderful sales playbook that you designed that is shown to increase sales by 60% just by having one. So get on board if you don't have one already. If you have one that's not working for you, let's figure out why. Okay? All right. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.